Hello and welcome to the Cook Memorial Public Library podcast, where we invite you to spend just a few minutes with the staff at Cook Library. My name is Daniel Smith, and I am the genealogy librarian. In this episode, we are exploring how our ancestors may have honored and or connected with their ancestors. Genealogy is one way that we remember, honor, and connect with our ancestors, but there are also religious, cultural, and historical ways. As genealogists, we know that learning social history is a great way to deepen our understanding of our ancestors and their lives. More specifically, ancestral beliefs and practices are an important part of their values and lives, and certain historical movements and traditions may have influenced those beliefs and practices. Late October through early November is a particularly special ancestral time in many religious and cultural traditions. Halloween itself has roots in sacred Celtic beliefs which proclaimed that the veil between earth and heaven was particularly thin this time of year, allowing the spirits to visit the living. In addition, observances like Dia de los Muertos and All Souls or All Saints' Day are often observed around this time of year. These holidays and several others center around ways of remembering, honoring, and connecting with our ancestors, as well as those who have gone on before us. These observances may include actions like creating altars, lighting candles, or offering gifts. They may also include various rituals and rites. Historically, there have been many examples of people seeking to connect with their ancestors and those who have died. In this episode, I'm going to focus on a particular period and practice in American history known as Spiritualism. It was popular in the Northeast and Midwest. The modern version began in the mid-1800s with the Fox sisters of New York, who claimed that they were communicating with a man called Mr. Splitfoot, who died in their house. To do this, they used a technique called rapping, which involved a specialized alphabet that was expressed through knocking or tapping with their hands on furniture and walls. The news of the Fox sisters' experiences spread very quickly. Millions of people became attracted to this movement. In particular, many women were attracted to spiritualism, as it allowed them to express their opinions openly and was designed and aligned with societal expectations for women who were seen as more spiritual than men. They were able to advocate for suffrage, equality, temperance, emancipation, and more through the spiritualist movement. Spiritualism later became more defined and formalized by people like Andrew Jackson Davis, who wrote and publicly spoke on the subject often. A group of folks known as mediums who could communicate directly with spirits arose as well. They often met in homes around tables to perform what were known as seances. Objects like boards, horns, cards, and balls served as conduits by which the medium could connect with the spirits of the dead. Many mediums could be found throughout the country, with a large grouping in Washington, D.C. They could be hired, and many utilized their services, including Mary Todd Lincoln, the wife of President Abraham Lincoln, who worked with medium Nettie Colburn Maynard after the untimely death of her son Willie. They even held at least one seance at the White House with the president present. Some mediums were genuine spiritualists who sought to connect folks with their ancestors or family, while others were taking advantage of folks and seeking to prey upon vulnerable people to make a profit. Other folks, like William Mumler, also created what were called spirit photographs, and many still exist within family albums today. This movement did not exist in isolation. Quakers and other Christian sects found ways to integrate spiritualist practices into their larger belief systems as well. And a spiritualist church was also established. As the movement grew, they began to found camps where followers would gather to hear lectures and commune with other spiritualists. One of the first was Lilydale in New York, which remains a headquarters of the National Spiritualist Association of Churches. But there were others throughout the country, like Casadaga Spiritual Camp in Florida and Camp Chesterfield in Indiana. Like other religious groups, the spiritualists published newspapers, magazines, journals, and directories, which have been preserved in various organizational archives, including the American Antiquarian Society, the Library of Congress, and the State Historical Society of Wisconsin. You may be able to find some online through websites like the International Association for the Preservation of Spiritualist Periodicals. The Internet Archive has a number of scanned books that were published by early spiritualists as well. These publications can serve as records which can be very helpful if you have a spiritualist ancestor in your family. If you are unsure if your ancestors were spiritualists, you may be able to find clues on their gravestones. For example, if you see gates that are slightly ajar, that could be a reference to an early spiritualist novel by Elizabeth Stuart Phelps. This symbol was particularly popular in the southern United States. If you find phrases in their obituaries like entered into Summerland, awakened to the newness of life in the spirit world, passed to the spirit land, or just translated, those could be potential clues as well. In an age of high mortality, communicating with dead loved ones was very appealing. Many people, including those who still identified as Christian, were naturally attracted to this movement in the 19th century, and famous individuals like Frederick Douglass, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle were connected to the spiritualist movement. With that in mind, a spiritualist ancestor is definitely a possibility for many of us. And even if they were not formally a part of spiritualism, the desire to honor and connect with ancestors has been strong throughout history and cultures. How did your ancestors honor and connect with their ancestors? How do you honor and connect with your ancestors? I hope that this podcast episode has piqued your curiosity to learn more about the cultural and religious practices of your ancestors. Maybe you can connect with them through a family photograph, heirloom, or recipe. As we have explored, these practices can lead to a deeper understanding of their lives and values, as well as additional records, objects, and documents to explore. If you enjoyed this podcast, share it with those who you think would also be interested. One of the best things you can do to support us is to take a moment to comment or leave a rating for this podcast. Those comments and ratings help get this podcast noticed. We'll be back soon, but until then, keep reading, keep watching, and keep listening.